Before the 1800s, immigration from Asia to the United States was minimal. During the 19th century, the United States experienced mass migrations of immigrants from several Asian countries, particularly China. Throughout the 1850s and 1860s, Chinese were recruited as a major source of labor for the mining and railroad industries in the western United States. In the early 1870s, thousands of Chinese laborers were hired to work on an extensive levee project in California's Sacramento, San Joaquin River Delta, constructing a large network of earthen levees, which eventually turned 500,000 acres of swamp into some of California's most valuable farmland. In the early 1880s, the United States Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which restricted Chinese immigration. The act barred Chinese skilled and unskilled laborers, and Chinese employed in mining, from entering the United States for 10 years, and forbade Chinese immigrants from becoming United States citizens. Other exclusionary laws aimed at Chinese immigrants were passed by Congress between 1888 and 1902, effectively reducing the number of Chinese entering the states. During this time, Japanese immigrants became increasingly sought after by American businesses. Because of this, the number of Japanese immigrating to the United States, particularly to the West Coast, increased rapidly. The first Japanese-owned business in Walnut Grove, an udon, or noodle shop, was started in 1896 and marked the beginning of what would become a large Japanese community. The Japanese in Walnut Grove began to establish a presence in the north part of Chinatown, and it quickly became the social and cultural center for Japanese Americans in the Delta. In 1915, a fire broke out in Walnut Grove's Chinatown, destroying 80 buildings in a 3-block area. This resulted in changes to the makeup of Walnut Grove's Chinese community. Some of the Chinese residents moved 1 mile north and founded the town of Locke, while others chose to remain in Walnut Grove. The Japanese immigrants decided to build their own Nihonmaki, or Japantown, 1 block north of the Chinese district. Japanese architects and carpenters from all over Northern California volunteered to help with the building effort. The historic district appears almost as it did in the 1920s. Walnut Grove remains a rare example of California Japanese American 20th century architecture. Thanks for visiting.